to the analyst desk. I will say during the interview, Joshi, you said earlier as a hot take that you thought Evil Geniuses could be a top 3 team, and Zerdy was kind of talking about like, okay, we actually think we have what it takes to get up there. Are you feeling that your outlandish claim is maybe not so outlandish now?
I mean, I think they very clearly have a lot that they can still work on, and I think Serdi recognizes that as well, but they definitely have the discipline and the regimen to actually fix a lot of those issues. And like you said, at the end of it, the biggest thing is all 10 of the academy teams are going to be going to proving grounds. All 10 of them will have an opportunity to play. The question is whether or not they will get a first round bye or if they're going to have to play in the play-in against some of the other amateur teams first. So they have lots of time. As we said, they played 6 of the 36 games that they have to play in the regular season. So seeing that they've lost a couple of games right now, it doesn't mean a whole lot, but it is something that will be remembered later on to see if they have improved from where they are now.
Yeah, well, with those wins as well, Evil Geniuses has ended the loss streak, being able to end on a win. 100 Thieves were able to end that yesterday. It looked like they might have gone 0-4 before heading into Game 3, before finally squeaking out a win against Immortals. And they're going to be going up against the 4-0 squad that is Dignitas right now. Dignitas, they're having a good time, and I don't blame them. We've seen their socials, we've seen the confidence. Now we can see if they can end off the week on such a high note. Let's pull up that roster, and Desrex, talk about why this squad's been doing so hot so far.
So I've been loving what we've been seeing from Dignitas because we've had a split to try and develop XU and Spawn, and the development is coming through. They are shining through. You now have that veteran voice in Insanity who's been doing so much for this squad, and it is very, very hard to read in a meta as well. There was a game where this guy pulled out Valkaz against Evil Geniuses. He's a wild player to watch, and all these pieces are coming together so well. I enjoy it. I love what Insanity's been doing with this squad, and yeah. 4-0. It speaks for itself.
Yeah, it really does. But so 100 Thieves, they've gotten a little taste of victory now. So you know that they're going to be coming at them with everything they have. Let's pull up this roster. And Joshi, talk us through a little bit more of what we can expect heading into today, and if they can maybe end this win streak that Dignitas has going on.
I mean, we've already talked about how much raw talent exists on the 100 Thieves roster, right? We've seen all of these players play before, and they're still playing with Sword in for Busio while he comes back from Korea. And while they continue to play, we saw yesterday that when they kind of play back a little bit and wait for their opponents to make mistakes, they can oftentimes be rewarded for it. But the one player who has had a ton of early game success so far is Tenacity. But the question is he going to be able to convert that into mid-game team fight wins? He's going to be able to make the plays that his team needs to reward, giving him all of these early game advantages? Or is this a team that had a bit of a flash in the pan and is still waiting for their main roster to come back?
Yeah, well, looking into our matchup today, looking more so at a head-to-head, we're going to be focusing a bit more on the jungle, and no surprise why, because over on this side, Dignitas, XU is someone that a couple of people had stated was their player to watch, Kelsey included, and we have a couple of clips to talk to maybe talk and explain more to the viewers, Joshi, just why that is.
Yeah, XU has been a player that I've been really excited to watch for quite a while. He's really good at finding these timing attacks where he will gank in very narrow windows where he knows he's got 3-4 seconds there before the enemy jungle shows up, and it really allows him to find a lot of these explosive early game victories and then use that to be really relevant on the rest of the map. And we know that he has a pretty wide variety of things that he's able to play. He was very well known for playing things like the Lee Sin and the Viego previously, but he's willing to play all kinds of different things. This season he's been bringing out a lot more of the Kindred, and that is something that is very exciting to add to his repertoire. It's something that he is now contesting with Will.
Yeah, he's been so explosive in spring, and now to see him come into the summer season so much more refined. You were talking about that Kindred pick. He keeps taking it into the Wukong. Yeah, XU's really good.
We'll have to see at this point if Will can step up to the challenge, because definitely necessary to make an impact. But what can Will do, Desrex, or what can we expect Will to do in this matchup to maybe even the playing field?
Well, we're hoping he can do something big here because 100 Thieves have been having a pretty rough time coming into the start of the split. As we know, they only picked up that one win against Immortals, but a lot of that was just off of having that strong lead coming out from Tenacity and the power of will on this Graves to be in the right place, right time for a lot of these team fights. He just kind of scopes out where lane states, what's going on with a lot of these lane states, and very carefully picks out where he's going to be, like you see in this one right here. So low is Tenacity. Durability patch does him well and does fill up dirty. Will is a very active jungler and he's a very aware jungler.
Okay, so then I have to ask the question too. 100 Thieves coming off of a win, but Dignitas not taking a loss yet. How are we feeling overall with these teams headed into today, based off of what we've seen this week so far, Deserex?
Based off this week, I mean, I'm still seeing Dignitas. I don't want to put it this way because I do think 100 Thieves have a lot of talent. I'm not, as you know, they're my outlandish claim to actually come all the way back. But no Busio, no win. That's the way I see it right now. So Dignitas, I feel them taking this one, even with the substitute Tony Top over in the top lane. He's still been playing really well. He got to play his signature Jax just recently. I see Dignitas taking this one pretty handily.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Dignitas is definitely favored. While I look at the roster coming through for both these sides, it feels like 100 Thieves is a very large gun, right? Like, it's so heavy that it takes like 2 people to turn it around to point it at the right target. But if you get it lined up and you have everybody in your sights, you can really take control of the games. Whereas I feel like Dignitas are a couple steps ahead of them. They've already got everything pre-arranged. They know where everybody's going to be coming from, and it makes it so much easier to actually play things out when you're able to make these early game plans.
Well, guys, if I heard right, I think we have a champ select that's about to happen. So, time to hop into the game to see if Dignitas is going to continue on this winning streak or if 100 Thieves are hungry for more. I'll catch you two later. Have fun. Bye.
Bye, Sierra.
Bye, Sierra.
All right, Dignitas versus 100 Thieves. I am, not as excited for this one, specifically because of what I had said a couple moments ago. We don't have Busio. He's still over there in Korea doing his boot camp. He will be returning soon, and he is one of those bigger voices when it comes to 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves either like to play around Tenacity or they like to play around Busio.
Yeah, and Busio has a really good instincts too, right? He's so good at marking people on the sides, but in the meantime, we're looking at Sword, right? He's been playing, he's been doing fine from what he's been looking for.
Yeah.
He's always looking for these opportunities to make sure that BMFX and Jimin are strong, but he doesn't have the same kind of killer instinct a lot of the time that we look for in Busio. So when he returns, you can kind of expect 100 Thieves will have a bit more of that aggressive nature coming through. And now, as they're playing into Dignitas, they have BMFX going through, and Spawn is going to not be able to have that Callista that he's been having so much success with so far.
Ooh, this final ban of the Kindred gets taken away, so this puts an interesting thing on the table. We always flex around with that MF, as the Wukong is still up and available for that first pick. If 100 Thieves grab this, then it's going to be indicative of going after the Tahm Kench jungle right after. Dignitas still have the ability to go ahead and grab that Wukong.
The monkey, yeah, I said that we saw a lot of success from Spawn on the Callista. I was actually mistaken the fact that it's been banned a lot against him. By the way, this Katarina, however, that actually does a lot, that's for his girlfriend as well, whose name is also Kat. So shout outs to her. We always love supportive family members and significant others coming through. But the Lucian is something that we have been seeing coming out from Spawn and JJ. They've played 2 games of Lucian, Nami, 2 games of Senna Tahm Kench. When the Senna taken off the table, they just go right on back to the other one. So, 100 Thieves, they know that they're going up into a very powerful bottom lane. These guys were actually really pushing around Carry and Smoothie earlier in the season, and now they're going to be going up against BMFX and Sword.
So the Tahm Kench now locked in on the side of 100 Thieves Academy, pairing it with that Senna. We got our bot lanes already shown. With the Lucian Nami, it's known to be very, very lane dominant. It's a oppressive lane that you have to deal with. It's going to be piloted by Spawn, who has been phenomenal at a lot of these team fights and positioning for extended team fights. The Wukong was still left on the table as Dignitas wanted to grab their bottom lane, so 100 Thieves hovering it.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Wukong went this long in the draft before it was picked up, but it says that XU is confident that he's able to play against it. It's not the Kindred, because they were the ones who in fact banned it away, but it is going to be the Viego, another common counter pick to the Wukong. Now, it's kind of interesting, right, because both of these bottom lanes really like playing the Lucian Nami. We've seen 2 games of it from Dignitas, we've seen 2 games of it coming out from 100 Thieves, and now 100 Thieves, it's their first time on the Senna Tom Kench. I'm sure they practiced with it a lot in scrims, but we haven't seen them actually perform with it on stage just quite yet. And for a bottom lane that has so much individual experience, but not necessarily playing together, I worry that they're going to have a little bit of trouble going up against, you know, Mama Bear and JJ. He's been so strong throughout everything. He's been a huge leader for this team historically, and now that he's got other experienced members like Insanity, he's even more free to focus on his lane and make sure that they can crush it.
As we head into the second phase of the draft, we're banning away mid lanes, Ahri and Azir. Now, the thing about this is, it is hard to ban out Insanity. He has a champion Ocean at his disposal. I mean, not that long ago, I think it was Proving Grounds, he was playing like Ivern mid. We already talked about the Vel'Koz that he pulled out against Evil Geniuses this week. It's a tough cookie to crack, and he even has his Vigar in the pocket pick, which is one he actually popularized there. So plenty of champions that Insanity can go into the wheelhouse for.
Yeah, they've already banned out most of the play champions, right? We've seen a bunch of Azir. We've seen 2 Azir games from Insanity. We've seen an Azir game from Jamie as well, and then R is the other big one. So now it feels like Victor is the most contested mid laner between these 2 rosters, and it creates a very strong backline for the side of Dignitas if they are able to pick that up. But they are committed to a more defensive style if that's the route they do want to go down.
Right, so now hovering over towards that Gangplank, it's going to give the counter pick to Dignitas for that solo lane in the mid lane. But with that Gangplank locked in, lot still left on the table when it comes to the top lane. The focus really onto the mid lane for this one, and only that Jack's taken away, which really is a Tony top special target ban towards him. 100 Thieves Academy, Victor and Olaf. This is one we haven't seen too much yet.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to say, you kept talking about it, the Vel'Koz coming through. This is a classic counter to the Victor. You just outrange it. You do not let the Victor have a good time in lane. You do not let it have a good time in the team fights. But the big question for Dignitas is how well they're going to be able to deal with the Wukong and the Olaf. They don't have a ton of crowd control to deal with the Wukong, but they have so much damage. So we're looking at a very similar thing to what we saw 100 Thieves kind of find their victory on previously. A team composition that is so good if it gets just set up. We saw this even in our last game. It's so good if it can take a defensive stance, but you need to have the discipline to actually take control of those choke points. Otherwise, Tenacity and Will can just kind of run through your team composition, ignore a lot of the crowd control, and if you don't have these overlapping fields of fire, 100 Thieves can just run through with all that serpentine movement.
But Dignitas have a lot to work with what they've drafted so far in their lane states. I mean, we talked about the lane dominant Lucian Nami, the counter pick going into the mid lane with Insanity being on that Vel'Koz. Of course, you do have a potential weak point with the Gangplank. You still have time where you need that to scale. So for the early game, I am liking what Dignitas have taken.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something where Dignitas is ready to go. If Ixu can really abuse the small windows that he likes to play with, it's going to be a huge victory for them. If they just get too strong, it kind of won't matter all the aggressive tools that 100 Thieves have available to them. They just won't be strong enough to actually use them. The one place I really want to see him prevent from having a whole lot of impact on the game is Olaf. If he can keep Tenacity from taking over top lane from Tony Top, I feel like Dignitas are firmly set to win.
All right, so our second match of the day, 100 Thieves Academy versus Dignitas Academy. 100 Thieves just barely getting their first win yesterday against Immortals, having a tie in that one. Dignitas off to the races in a spectacular 2-day start, going 4-0.
As we see both sides going for a bit of a fan, it looks like we are definitely going into a situation where Dignitas are very comfortable, right? They aren't nearly as chaotic now when they have Insanity as they were when Darkwings was in the field. And Darkwings, you know, for a player that had so much raw potential and had really come into his own towards the end of spring, I'm a little bit sad to see him go, but I'm very happy to see David Insanity Chow come back towards the game. We get to cast him once again, and as the relatively veteran leader, you can really look towards him now that he's on the Vel'Koz as somebody who can really focus on making sure that the jungle is shot called to the right places on the map.
I mean, the mid lane was a big role if you are replacing Darklings. And who else better but Insanity? He was so destructive on 100 Thieves next. He terrorized last split on that roster. So it's no question why he got re-picked up so fast.
Yeah. Boom. Tenacity, kind of just waiting in the tribe rush, waiting to see if Tony Top takes the wrong route back to lane, but Tony's not going to be falling prey to this. This feels like something that Niles used to do quite a bit as we fight over these wards.
Just a little bit of a skirmish over the wards. They're just wards, guys. They're just wards.
Look, it's a marital dispute. It is okay. I'm just not going to be dealing with it. But Tenacity goes forward. He gets the ward on the red buff, sees that XU isn't doing it right away, but will spot him out immediately afterwards. And XU going for a bit of a heavier farming route, not necessarily going to be going for the same kind of early ganks. And that should leave Tenacity a little bit more freedom to push around Tony Top in the early game.
Taking that farm, because, as you said, taking the golems right there should be pathing down bottom right after that where all his camps are up. Will be pathing towards the top side where this wave is heavily pushed in. You can get some decent harassment coming out from the Olaf on that top side, throwing out those axes. It's matched often with the parlay that you can just spam ridiculously with the gangplank. But both junglers on the same side now. Not expecting too much to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, and we got to pay really close attention to where the wave actually pushes between Tony Top and Tenacity. If it starts pushing for Tony Top and it starts going towards the blue side of the map, he can be in a really dangerous position. Look at this. It is doing exactly that. This wave is going towards Tenacity, and he has the Ghost and the Ignite. Tony needs to be very careful in the next couple minutes. He needs to get this wave to crash off the turret, or he's going to be in a situation where he can't farm.
Now, if he goes too far forward here, he's going to get completely zoned off of that minion wave.
Yeah,
so just
not there.
As far away, yeah. As we said, he started on that top side, now pathing in the bottom, where we've seen a lot of those junglers fight, but it hurts so much for Tony Top.
Yeah, and there's the ping. They know exactly where XU is. He's saying he's either on the Gromp or getting ready for the crab right away. So Sword and BMFX know that they don't need to, play too aggressively. They can play back a little bit, but 100 Thieves, they have Will and Jimmy getting some vision down, and Will coming in behind.
That's what we're worried about.
Top's already worried about just Tenacity.
We were so worried about this for Tony Top if this wave were to go in that direction, and now Will has arrived into the top lane. Good chunk of damage coming out, so they're going to start up the dive. So low is Tony Top, but Tenacity is going to back off after getting his flash.
Yeah, that's going to be a good trade coming through for the Olaf, right? He has the summoner spells coming up so much earlier than the Flash. He has a bit of a freeze, and Tenacity absolutely demolished top lane on the Fiora yesterday. He's now threatening to do the same thing to Tony.
And Tenacity's so smart on how to play that wave, how to play that lane. XU now on the bottom wave. BMFX and Sword trying to catch him out, but you still got the Lucian Nami combo waiting right over the wall. Just trying to deny some of these camps that XU's looking to steal away. But XU will be able to take them. Not much that BMFX and Sword can do. Or when you got Will there, maybe it's time to pull the engage. Sword takes too much damage. The engage was a little bit too early, so Will can follow up in time.
Yeah, and look at this CS lead. We've been so focused on the top lane thus far that we haven't really looked at the Lucian Nami lane that Spawn and JJ are piloting. They're doing a good job at preventing Sword from farming, and notice that the MFX actually has 9 CS. That's just because Sword can't get to them. You don't really want to be farming as a Senna. You don't get the souls, and the gold doesn't do you a whole lot because it removes your ability to quickly stack your Spectral Sickle.
So Dignitas so far in the early game, well, it is not anything too overwhelming. It is these small victories that they're getting from this bot side, constantly trying to crash the wave in and play for this aggression, deny all that farm that Sword's trying to get. He is melee, so it is so painful. Nami already that enchanter. And the damage that you get from the burst of Lucian, paired with that Nami, the Tidecaller's Blessing, makes it very hard, very punishing for Sword to get the CS.
Yeah. I mean, you see he's already falling significantly far behind. They will be able to get some of this, and so there will be the prerequisite souls coming through for BMFX. But if we see this kind of dominance coming out from Spawn and JJ, it really puts into jeopardy the ability for BMFX and Sword to play the game. They haven't fallen too far behind because Will was able to come through and prevent any potential dive opportunities from XU, but the game still kind of hangs in the balance. It feels like we're looking towards another potential arms race like we were looking at yesterday when 100 Thieves was playing.
And with Dignitas, I still favor their bottom lane when it comes to that arms race. You know, BMFX, he is a rather new player. We had discussions about him where he plays a very low amount of solo queue games. He accomplishes a lot with very little. The thing is, he's coming into a competitive space now, so developing that mindset to play on the Academy stage is definitely part of the growth.
Yep, and here we go. Tenacity still has an opportunity. There's no flash for Tony.
Oh, man. Tony smells it. He's so scared. The way Tenacity's been positioning this lane is such a threat for Tony top when Will is always stalking.
Yeah. It is a good lead, right? You should be expecting Tenacity to get this kind of lead. And as long as Tony doesn't die, doesn't fall too far behind, he's still a Gangplank. He will still be relevant later on. But Will not able to find the successful ganks just quite yet. The flash will be coming out from Tony top relatively soon. And so Tony's able to survive the worst of the onslaught, then we should be in a much better position. And Dignitas choosing to play towards the opposite side of the map.
They're going for the red buff right now, and 100 Thieves are working towards this direction. BMFX and Will, they know what's happening. They will hop onto XU, trying to get onto XU. Abyssal dive, but the blast plant, the follow-through from Will get first blood. It goes to BMFX. They want a double J so low, but the danger of Spawn being just around the corner, it's still first blood for 100 Thieves Academy.
Yeah, not able to respect Sword coming over a little bit faster than anybody can respond to. It ends up just being XU caught out, and that stifles a lot of the ability for XU to skyrocket earlier on in this game. They knew they were playing for this, and I thought after the ward misses, this should be a relatively easy secure coming through for XU, but it ends up not being. And look at the fact that Sword is already moving over. Spawn calls it out, but he can't really do anything about it. They're just trying to get this and leave, but the smite goes over and they take so much damage that XU just falls immediately afterwards. So good response coming out from 100 Thieves, and just securing the own red buff here for Will means that he is going to be even stronger coming through in the next couple of minutes.
Not having sight on Will and BMFX. And the Abyssal dive, how effective that is in closing the distance to be able to get into some of these fights that the Dirty Bully patch has extended. Now, let's look over here because Tenacity is looking to find XU. Tries to clear away some of those Raptors. Tenacity, so much BM on that one. XU empty-handed.
Man, Tenacity is pretty happy with that, getting the entire Raptor camp minus one bird. That's plenty of chicken nuggets.
Dang, man. That's
so
mean.
It's
so
pretty mean.
Just one axe. Just one axe.
But this is good stuff coming out from Tenacity, right? He's not just punishing his own lane. He's waiting for the wave of Tony Top to push back towards the blue side of the map, and Will is already up here. I think he's hitting the Herald, but you can still choose to actually go and play for the top lane once again.
Yeah, Will has been very top-focused due to the way Tenacity's been playing with a lot of these lane states. We saw what happened before when Tenacity was versus Vital. He did a very, very similar play, but was able to hold it closer to his tower. That's what caused that Flame Horizon. And Will wants to try and make a repeat of that over on the top side. Much harder against a Gangplank.
Yeah, but now he has the Rift Herald. If you can get a Tenacity far enough ahead, you will be in a good position. 30 CS is pretty good. But it looks like he will be pushing a wave right back on into Tony, so he can buy himself a bit more time to get back on the map. But it definitely feels, again, it's an arms race. BMFX and Sword are struggling to play this lane against Spawn and JJ. There's now a 40 CS lead for Spawn over Sword. And in the top lane, you know, the 20 CS is largely made up by the fact that 20 Top is getting parlay stacks. He's getting extra gold every single time he last hits something with his Q or with those barrels, right? He's going to be so much richer than just his CS numbers imply. And we haven't yet seen these two teams go on for a full-on tangle. Yeah, Tenacity is about 200 gold ahead, which is, you know, good, but I feel like with the amount of attention Will has paid up here, you would hope that would have been even more. They haven't even gotten more than a single play, and it's not clear to me that Tenacity was in range to actually grab it.
I'm watching this right now as Tenacity is going for the hard shove right here. XU's towards this position. Yeah. I was kind of expecting Tenacity to pull the wave, but has Will nowhere near him, so not the best choice, but here he goes. Go for the invade. Realizes that XU's farming his jungle and still wants a piece of it. He's going to keep taxing him.
Tax, tax, tax. We'll see if the jungle tax comes through as XU's trying to clear this. We'll see if another axe takes all the chickens.
Knock, knock. It's the IRS. Give me him. There it goes.
Oh my god, it's the whole thing.
He's got a 2-level lead now. XU, no, and the Ragnarok comes off. He lands another axe. He's just gonna dive XU. He just dives him. My God, Tenacity puts up a shield on top of it.
Alive.
You gotta get there fast, JJ. You gotta get there fast because the recall is coming out, and Tenacity is getting on out.
Yeah, JJ can't face check that. He's only level 5 to a level 9 Tenacity. The solo kill comes through from the one, takes down Lawrence XU Shu, and that's brutal, right? Tony Top's been doing a good job surviving this lane, but it is not even his fault that his jungler ends up going down. And this is just a damage check. XU thinks he can take this fight, and he's very clearly wrong. Right? Like, that's all there is to it. It's just Tenacity running through. He gets the kill, and because Olaf now has that shield at the end, he's got enough HP to just run out. So good stuff coming through from Tenacity, and those unforced arrows from Dignitas are going to come back and hurt them.
He taxed him, man. He taxed his entire life. Goodness gracious. Tenacity is dominating over on this top side as Will now starts to stalk the bot lane. You have a double movement coming out from the mid-jungle duo of Dignitas, but they're moving towards the mid, and Will is still looking down here. Not going to go for any engages, though, as both of them going to see this off. The ping's coming out for the Drake as Insanity moves into the river.
This is the first dragon. Real contest from both sides. Tony Top doesn't have the ultimate to contribute, so it is just going to be a 4-on-4. But Spawn and JJ are coming in at awkward angles.
Oh, the Cyclone onto XU, but out comes Disintegration Ray. Tidal Wave runs through, lands on the knockup for Sword and priority. 100 Thieves onto the Drake. Spawn just puts out the Colin. It's going to do nothing.
Yeah, because XU is so weak at this point, there's not a whole lot of damage he can contribute. And even with the Death Laser coming through, they're not able to actually find any real damage onto Will. So Dignitas, they give up this first dragon. It doesn't mean that their hopes of getting the Dragon Soul are over, but that's pretty rough position for them now that they are in a situation where Tenacity is really starting to take control. He's taking away the big Krug from XU. He's looking for these opportunities to just bully Tony Top even further. And once he has the Stride Breaker completed, I don't know how you actually go for anything as Tony Top. You just have to wave back and hope that Tenacity pushes the wave back into you.
Maybe I was wrong. I said no Busio, no win, but Tenacity is stepping up big time over in this top lane. He's taking down 2 lanes at the same time. He goes at Tony Top. It's not enough food for him. Goes at XU. Still spotting out where XU is, tracking his path. He's doing so much work for Will.
Yeah, definitely making Will's job much easier. XU's doing a decent job still farming in this game, but now that the Rift Herald is going to be crashing towards the top lane, Tenacity is going to be rewarded with an extra half kill just coming through from this, and I don't think XU can prevent this.
Wait, is he going to just straight go for it? Yeah, Tenacity now with the engage on the Tony Top. There's the snare. Tony Top gets rooted. Ultimate comes out from BMFX and going to grab a kill. Tenacity runs low, but runs right out of the tower, but it's into the arms of Insanity, who's able to pick him up and grab it for Dignitas. It's not done just yet, though. They'll continue the chase, looking for BMFX. Should be able to pick off here. The slow is done, and XU will have a kill.
Okay, Dignitas getting a counter punch in, right? Taking down Tenacity, taking down BMFX, and at the same time Spawn continuing to exacerbate the problems that Sword is facing in the bottom lane. It is a bit of a gold trade, right? It is gold going back and forth as Tony Top overextends a little bit to try and prevent the Herald from crashing, but it does end up impacting the turret. So, with all this, now suddenly Insanity, we said this was his classic counter pick into the victor. He was trying to force Jimmy to play it so that he could actually play this Vel'Koz. He's finding his first kill, he's finding his first assist, he's got 3 stacks on the Dark Seal. He is now the person Dignitas who we're going to have to pay attention to in these upcoming team fights as the person controlling space and can hopefully get down Tenacity before he can get into the backline.
I mean, if you can't get onto Insanity, the teamfight potential that you have with that Ray, man, it can melt people in no time whatsoever. So Insanity's already in a good position. 1-0-1. You already said he has 3 stacks onto that Dark Seal with the Luden's Echo completed. Just took a recall after getting that blue buff. Culminating into the mid lane is going to be 100 Thieves to see if they can do something about this and grab that neutral objective, grab Rift Herald. But the response out of Dignitas, they are coming all together as a unit.
They're late, though. I don't think they get here in time. XU is going to have to try and do something drastic in order to try and pick it up. Can they find a fight afterwards? No.
They're going for the counter engage, though. There's the stun, able to land it onto Will. Tidal Wave comes out. Will sidestep it. Tenacity with the barrels will land one onto Tony Top. And that's it right there. 100 Thieves Academy. They get the Rift Herald and they get out before Dignitas can engage.
Yo, that Chaos Storm is so hard to see, though. Did you see that coming through from Jimmy? And it's like, what is happening?
No, I did not.
Yeah, that's it.
It blended with the floor.
It looked like the Scuttle Crab. You know, this skin is pretty darn good. Maybe I should actually... I keep talking crap about it, but maybe I should actually go get it for myself. But either way, yeah, it's 100 Thieves now coming out with a pretty big advantage, right? They find another Rip Trial, they grab it for free, and as we start looking at this, Tony Top a little bit behind. He's got the Trinity Force completed, but it's so hard for him to side lane, right? Look at Tenacity just daring him to walk up every single time Tony goes for a minion.
And you know, Tony's constantly calling up to his jungler saying, Exy, please, please. He's got the wave next to his tower and he's not letting me farm. Please help me out here. His prayers are hurt, though, because here comes Exy. Nope, channeling the recall, still shoved deep towards his side of the base. Will he pull the trigger? Exy's right there, already one going out.
Blue trinketed. He thinks it's safe.
Tenacity's waiting. He's right there. Here it comes. Looking to find a stun, biding his time. XU jumps in. Ragnarok's going to be a pop. Out comes the cannon barrage. A burst of damage coming out all together onto Tenacity, but Tenacity is too big. He's too strong. The life's still doing its work. Tenacity stays alive.
Good stuff from Tenacity. He knew something was up. He knew that XU could be there. He used a blue trinket into the river to try and spot him out, but now in the mid lane...
Ooh, Sword with the knockup on the JJ. It's going to get the flash out, and Shelly will get another charge. Lands into the mid lane tier 2, and with that, 100 Thieves Academy start the rotation because there's 15 seconds left on that dragon timer.
Yeah, they're in control of the river coming through, and Dignitas, they're missing a lot of vision control. They don't have a good way to get in, and even with Spawn doing damage, he's getting caught.
Now, Spawn now slowed by the tongue. Will not be able to get there in time. Spawn, with all the dashes, creates enough room to not be in any danger. But 100 Thieves are setting up around this Drake. A snare goes out. It lands on the JJ, who throws out his tidal wave, burnt his flash earlier, so there's no way out. Will gets the kill. Abyssal Dive coming in onto no one. That's all that's needed for 100 Thieves to get this Drake.
Yeah, I mean, just 100 Thieves are playing this so much more refined on their third day. They're able to get control of the dragon. Oh, XU.
Tenacity looking to fight the 1v1, but now it's a 1v2 as Insanity joins the fray. Almost a 1v3 with Tony Top waiting in the wings. Now Jimmy on the flank of Insanity. Tries to get him on the rotation right out, but not done. Still, nonetheless, 100 Thieves grab Drake.
Yeah, this one's for my chickens, Tenacity. Comes in, takes the crabs away, gets Tenacity, and Tony Top will get this turret down in the top lane. So they finally finding something a little bit back on the other side of the map. The gold lead remains relatively even, and it still creates some worries for me, Eric, right? Because we kept talking about how Dignitas, they are looking for ways to actually control these choke points. They need to withstand the damage coming through from Tenacity and Will, and so far, they're not lining up in ways where they can control space. They're letting 100 Thieves get the vision control. They're letting 100 Thieves get there first, and Victor does the exact same thing. Senna does the exact same thing, and 100 Thieves have go buttons in Sword, Will, and Tenacity.
But trying to stay in is going to be Dignitas. Insanity has gotten a few kills already, and the gold is still even 19 minutes into this game. Dignitas are pushing forward with their vision now. They're trying to rotate around the map. They see the play going around top lane, and they need a response to it. Spawn's alone.
Spawn should be relatively safe though, right? He's got the Relentless Pursuit, and as long as he dodges out from the Abyssal Dive, he should be able to get out most of the time. So Dignitas, as they move up towards the top side, I'm a little bit surprised that this is the way that they choose to do it, because even with the Baron spawning in 25 seconds, I don't think they're really at risk of that getting picked up. Instead, it's just leaving Tony Top in isolation.
You can see right there, Will trying to prey on Spawn towards that top side, but finally backup does come for Spawn, so he's going to be A-OK. XU looking over the wall for Will. Both teams trying to find an engage onto this one. The tower is getting lower and lower, so Dignitas staying underneath this, but still safe as no siege can be done from 100 Thieves.
Oop. There goes another blue buff.
Yeah, quick
He was
snatch.
taking the chickens, he was taking
So
the
mean.
quags. Now
So
he's
mean.
taking the blue buff.
Took his lunch money, he taxed him, IRS, everything.
Everything. So even though we are still seeing 100 Thieves getting all these advantages, and I think they are currently in a position where they are favored going into the next positions of the game, it's not as though Dignitas can't come back, right? Eventually this Olaf becomes less threatening, as time goes further and further on. Tony Top will eventually just do enough damage to fight him. Insanity will just be able to stand and do enough damage as he backs up. He's got the unsealed spellbook, so he can take things like the Ghost, like the heal and the barrier to keep himself alive. And 100 Thieves will eventually run into a position where, you know, Tenacity and Will might not have enough damage, might not have enough tankiness to make sure that they actually go through the rest of the fight. With this game being relatively quiet, for not just an Academy game, but for a Dignitas game, I'm curious how the mentality of the Dignitas players are doing. They're not necessarily known for playing these games out super cleanly later on. I wonder if that has changed a lot with Insanity coming into the fold.
It seems to have changed, even with the game yesterday against TSM. That game number 2 went almost to 50 minutes. We're seeing a lot more slow play come out of Dignitas, even though they still are 4-0 up.
Yeah, they have 4 wins. We'll see if they can find another one. 100 Thieves are, in fact, looking for their 2nd win thus far on the season. But they're not necessarily sitting up. They're also being very quiet, waiting for a lot of these dragon things. And I feel like that's one of the things I was looking at, is how well are 100 Thieves going to be able to channel all of these younger players, as they do look for a little bit of vision control. They are here first, but they're not necessarily doing the same kind of poking and prodding like Evil Geniuses were doing, right? Evil Geniuses at this point were like, I wonder if your blue buff is available. I wonder if I can take that. But 100 Thieves are just like, yeah, you know, we got vision control. That's good. We'll be back in 20 seconds. Let's go get some waves pushing.
Yeah, just take the call. Push the waves. No fights. You know, we'll play this safe. We'll make the jungle a better place. It's a place for relax and relaxation. Rest and relaxation, excuse me on that. But for
Yeah,
Dignitas...
isn't that what camping is for?
Yeah, well, yeah. That's why we're in the river. That's why we're on the rift, Josh.
Ooh, get some fishing done. Oh, that's what they're doing. They're fishing for picks. So
Fishing for it right now. Doesn't land the line. Will's not going to take the bait this time.
Okay, Dignitas are here first. They are controlling space, but because there are already 2 dragons going over at 400 Thieves, they are less worried about this actual fight. They can leave their split pushers in the side lanes, whereas Dignitas don't want to give over soul points. So Dignitas, as they come here, they have to send Insanity towards top lane, and that means he's not here to defend all the choke plates 100 Thieves would have to walk through. And remember, you cannot catch Jimmy in the side lane. It just doesn't happen.
All right, here we go. You saw on the range. You saw how far Jimmy can go. Yup, that is Jimmy. Mazel had said earlier with that escape. And Jimmy now just proxying the wave, calling over for the crew. 100 Thieves are making their way over there, and Insanity is realizing he is on the wrong side of the rift. He is in no man's land as the Thieves jump onto him and get a kill. But here's the counter engage now. A beautiful Devour coming out from Sword, keeping Jimmy alive. But XU is right on Will and will take him down. Spawn flashes forward. Spawn looking for more. XU on the chase. Still has the ultimate waiting to pop onto Jimmy, but he can't get close enough. The chip damage coming out of BMFX, too dangerous.
Yeah, even though Will goes down, you still can't catch Jimmy in, right? He's still alive. They get the kill in the top lane. I think they get the mid lane turret. They get the bottom lane turret. So even though they gave up the dragon, 100 Thieves, very disciplined, saying, yeah, we don't care. We are going to play the rest of the map. We already did our job getting the first couple of objectives, and 100 Thieves are continuing to take control of the map. This is much more disciplined than what we were seeing previously in the season. This is much more disciplined than what we were seeing or expecting from them, and already it feels like when you see a team like figure it out, it's like a switch flips, right? It's not a gradual learning. It's just like, oh, they got it. They figured it out. And I feel like that's what we're seeing on 100 Thieves.
Yeah, they are clicking right now, and I feel like a lot of this has been on Insanity. Insanity's been so good at dominating over on that top side of the lane. It might be in isolation, but it's a lane you don't really have to worry about. You don't really have to think about that much, even though Will has made attempts to play over there.
Yeah, so as we look at this, remember, Jimmy now on the side lane, we've been seeing this double burn build being very popular for Victors, right? And it only really works if you're like solo AP, right? You want to be the only person building these items and doing magic damage. But this is definitely a game that fits that build. He knows that he can just burn people out a lot of the time. And as Dignitas, they try and play their lanes. They're not necessarily getting ready for this upcoming Baron. They're not necessarily getting the vision control necessary, and they're fighting Tony.
Going right after Tony. Will in the right spot. Puts out the Cyclone, and the teleport's being used. Tidal Wave used by JJ. One kill comes out. Dig's able to get Will, but the tower goes down. 100 Thieves now on the run as the Ray comes in. Insanity gets a good chunk of damage going through. Cannon Barrage doing its work now. Here it comes down and gets the slow, giving the chase to Dignitas. XU on the flank, trying to find more, looking for Jimmy, and that's going to be a hard one to lock down. Goes towards the side, finally gets the stun, the collapse. It finds BMFX, it finds Jimmy, and sure, you're going to lose one, but you found three.
That's huge. That is so much damage out of the side of 100 Thieves. And now Dignitas, I think they should feel confident to actually try and take this down. They're checking things around. They see exactly where Tenacity is. And Sword can't do anything on his own. Tenacity's not going to be able to come through. And so Dignitas, because they punished an overextension by 100 Thieves, are now going to be rewarded with the Baron.
Holding onto that Cannon Barrage, getting a good slow there, and the chase from Dignitas was good. XU finds a stun, and especially getting it onto Jimmy and getting it onto BMFX. No way to really fight back there. Now Dignitas in such prime positioning. It all started with this dive.
Yeah, and it all comes down to the vision, right? 100 Thieves don't think people can really be here. They have total vision control, but Insanity and Spawn take the one route where they can't really do anything. And Dignitas, they have enough tools, they have enough slows to actually catch up at the end of it, right? Because the Cannon Barrage just comes off of cooldown, the timing window is perfect. XU is able to get right on in, and as soon as you get on top of both Jimmy and BMFX, there's not a whole lot left. Sword isn't able to devour people twice. It's not the old Tom Kent. You only have it as your ultimate. And so, because of all these small timing things coming together, because 100 Thieves thought they were safe going for this dive, they are punished very heavily, and we'll see if Dignitas can do anything with it.
But 100 Thieves are definitely not acting like they're punished, as they are moving into the jungle of Dignitas, getting that deep vision in, establishing their control of the jungle. Do know that there's 50 seconds before the Drake does come up. Not going to be soul point for anyone. Look at Tenacity. He's on the flank. He might look for Insanity right here, but he spotted out the ward. He cleared out Insanity, just throwing it right onto Tenacity.
Yeah, this is where Dignitas can try and do a similar thing and just kind of ignore the dragon and go for the actual push. Who's backing? Okay, they're just getting a little bit of spinning going. I respect it. But Dignitas, they're coming into the mid lane. They're just lining up for all of this poking.
Ooh, one land coming in from Tenacity. See more with the laser as Insanity gets a chunk onto Sword. Ultimate onto Sword. Calling comes out. Now the team fight breaking through as Jimmyin runs deep, tries to get more as the Cyclone finds a knock up onto XU. Jimmyin not going to get away. Spawn making sure to take him down. Will now slipping away with the clone. The mid lane is down for 100 Thieves, so they can't contest this. Dignitas, they will chase onto Tenacity, and they will go straight to the Drake.
Tenacity not able to get in on that fight, and that just means it's effectively a 4v5. The Dignitas roster making sure that they play in such a way that the open field means that they have so much room to kite. That means they get the dragon. They're going to be getting this mid lane turret. They can probably get another one with Jimmy and still dead if they choose to push for it. And yeah, they're calling for Insanity to stick around to try and pick up yet another turret. Open up the map.
Man, Spawn is looking pretty good on this Lucian. I've really enjoyed this play from the lane all the way to the mid game. He has to get away from a potential counter engage now coming out from Will. Tenacity on the flank. They want to take out that high priority member. They're going after Insanity. They're going after Spawn, but they're able to flash away and get out. Devour comes in. It keeps Tenacity alive, but now too low. Jimmyin finds Insanity. XU running away. Now Jimmyin with the flank is making work happen for the Thieves. A triple kill for Jimmyin.
That was all of the progression that Dignitas had just gotten in, and now it's the exact reverse situation, right? So many members of 100 Thieves were unable to play for the Dragon, for the mid lane turret, but they're able to play immediately afterwards. Tenacity stays on the map. He finds the flank angle, and Jimmy coming in towards the end. Now they're the ones pushing, and they don't have to just stop for this turret. They can potentially get the inhibitor, and they can try and take some Nexus turrets as well.
They're going deep right now. Look at the death timers. 20 seconds left on Tony top, 15 XU, 10 on Insanity. Taking a look at how that fight just broke through. It was Tenacity diving deep for this one, but look at the teleport from Jimmyin.
Yeah, I mean, the big crucial part of this is actually the root from BMFX, holding Insanity in place, not letting him dodge away from the laser. His laser is not the one that matters during this fight, and they just run everybody down. But I'm curious, what did 100 Thieves get on the rest of the fight? What did they actually get? Did they get any Nexus turrets? No. Dignitas was able to push them away.
No Nexus towers picked up. A strong push coming out from the Thieves off of that team fight win. Jimmy and so good with that flank. You talked about the root on top of it, but now they're looking for tenacity. They don't want to deal with this anymore. He's been coming wild with a lot of these flanks as they put down the cannon barrage, trying to collapse onto him. You still have so many members now onto Tenacity, and Tenacity is far from home. A shutdown comes in, but it's going on to JJ.
But look at where Jimmy is at the same time. He's still in a side lane, constantly creating pressure, daring people to come try and deal with him, saying that you won't ever be able to catch me. And Dignitas, they're not even worried about it. They're not even, they are finally recalling Insanity, but Jimmy is going to be able to crash minions over here and at least stifle some of the bleeding. So good stuff from 100 Thieves. They're continuing to play relatively disciplined. The one mistake from Tenacity loses them a life and a turn. They give the blue buff right back on over. That still means we got to play for the upcoming objectives. We still got to play for another dragon. And so far, 100 Thieves have played a little bit more actively around most of these objectives. It's been Dignitas who's mostly been responding. And as long as 100 Thieves are making the unforced errors, Dignitas will be unlikely to try and take control of this Cloud Soul.
Yeah, Dignitas did lose their mid lane inhibitor, which is not as devastating as some of the other inhibitors that can go down. You know, you're going to stay in that mid lane to rotate around. Ooh, XU, wrong spot to be, buddy. As Will goes right after him, forces out the ultimate from XU. That's going to be down if a fight comes out soon. Wouldn't it be nice for Dignitas? They just get control over this mid lane to try and push in that super minion wave.
Yeah, we have to remember, we are at the point of the game where because so many turrets have fallen on both sides of the map, if either team gets a decisive teamfight victory, the game ends, right? There are enough turrets off the map. It should only take about a 30-second death timer. So as long as you are on your opponent's side of the map and you kill 3 or 4 people, you should be able to actually take the game off of that. And so Dignitas, they're still looking, they're still poking and prodding, they're still trying to find one person caught out so that there's no joined up team fight coming in from 100 Thieves. But the one thing we got to pay attention to is if Tenacity finds a flank like that again, he creates so much space all by his own.
Dignitas have a lot of vision around this Baron. Finally going to get cleared out by 100 Thieves. So utilizing that Fog of War now, you definitely need vision control here because those flanks can become so deadly. Dignitas will have to fight for it. As only getting it away and going back to the mid lane to try and push in that super minion wave will be 100 Thieves.
Yeah, look at where Tenacity is. He's going to catch Tony in rotation, I think.
Ooh.
No, he's coming for a flank.
He's coming from the back. He's coming from the back. Here comes Tenacity. It is time to fight. Tenacity with the Ragnarok will rock Jay. Now goes after Insanity, who will sidestep one of the axes. Another one goes out. It's enough to keep Insanity alive. But what a flank to come out of Tenacity. And another kill for Jimmy.
Look at all the space he created. Look at all the slows. He lets Will get in because they have to deal with threats coming from both sides. They didn't have the damage lined up to just deal with Tenacity. And it looks like 100 Thieves, they're going to be trying to go for the Baron. There's no smites coming out from XU. He wins every 50-50 smite, but he can't win when you're dead. And that just allows 100 Thieves to take the first objective. They do it quickly enough, and now they can transition to the other objective and should be able to pick up that as well, unless Dignitas are fast enough to kill it at the other side.
Dignitas trying to be quick. Nope, Dragon's going to go down. 100 Thieves Academy not even getting contested. So a big pickup right here as Baron has been acquired by 100 Thieves Academy. But Jimmy and Tenacity have been so good this game. These solo lanes of 100 Thieves with these flanks, Tenacity does work for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. He knows that Tony Top is separated, and look, he just finds the 3 squishy members. Will gets in, they have the damage, and it's a total rout. There's no front line, there's no back line, it's just everybody on Dignitas actually trying to survive. And even though XU tries to create pressure on the back side, he ends up just going down immediately after. And so 100 Thieves, they get the Baron, they have total control. But the one thing that's really nice for Dignitas is they got the Cloud Soul. They got the extra movement speed that comes along with that. They have a lot of movement speed, and so they can try and kite away from Tenacity. But now they know the mistake has been revealed. Oh, we didn't ward the areas behind us. Tenacity can come from any angle. We shouldn't make that mistake again. And so we will pay attention to whether or not Dignitas are controlling their sides. That's the biggest thing they need to do. If they can prevent Tenacity from participating, they should win every fight.
Now, Dignitas do have their inhibitor back up, so they're not going to have as much pressure back into that mid lane. However, the top lane is going to be all Tenacity as he juggles between both the jungle and the top lane itself. We'll take a reset off of this one, and so will the rest of Dignitas. You can see them kind of pulling off while Tenacity hasn't applied that pressure yet. It's got to be joint coming out from Dignitas. Pressure in one lane, pressure in the other.
Yeah. And now, Tony Top relieving pressure in multiple lanes while he farms up. Level 18, we actually haven't really been tracking how strong Tony Top is, but he's got all the crit items that he needs. If he starts landing barrels onto BMFX, onto Jimmy, and that can be enough to win the fight and potentially win the game all on its own. So Tony Top, this character he used to play quite a bit. He's finally in a position where he is incredibly strong. So start paying attention to if he starts lining up and just going for sieges, going for pokes in order to try and set up his team for success.
Okay, so the recall did come out from Tenacity. This would be a 4v5 if a fight were to break out. There is no teleport for Tenacity. A teleport is available for Tony Top now, and so is the Cannon Barrage. But a little bit too much time here. Tenacity is able to get into the mid lane. You can see what Dignitas are looking for. They want to find this engage at a disadvantage for Dignitas. Out comes the ultimate, so much healing, and there's the Cyclone, a knock-up, suddenly sending Dignitas into retreat. There's Jimmy, and grabbing another one onto XU, and with that, they don't need Tenacity. They will take the 4v5.
Yeah, who needs choke points when you can just kite away? Tenacity is able to go pick things up on the far side of the map because Dignitas weren't able to coordinate a successful dive onto Jimmy and BMFX, and this is going to be 100 Thieves poised to take their second game of the season. They already got one over Immortals, now they're trying to take down the 4-0 Dignitas.
Ooh, Jimmy goes low, still on the defense. Spawn and JJ are going to be successful in defending this inhibitor. But go look at the bot side, go look at the mid lane. 2 more inhibitors going down. There's going to be so many super minions to deal with for Dignitas.
Yeah, and that just means that they're going to be corralled to their base when this Elder Dragon spawns, when the Baron spawns, and Dignitas are going to be faced with some very difficult decisions because it's up to 100 Thieves where they actually want to commit their resources, which one of these objectives they actually want to try and take. Dignitas, they've been trying to get these fights going, but their composition is not very good at diving, right? You aren't going to be able to get more than just XU into the back line. You're not going to be able to run down BMFX and Jimmy, and they have so much space control. They go invisible. And Dignitas, they try to do that, but at this point, they're just so far behind that it doesn't work anymore.
Just hoping for some sort of scaling to make this come together with the Gangplank, but it's tough. It is very rough for Dignitas because look at what's been going on from 100 Thieves and how they've been able to consistently flank and get onto these backlines and even take fights in disadvantaged situations. Dignitas is so far behind right now, and they're struggling to find a foot in. 100 Thieves are looking for a punish. Ooh, coming in now, looking for the root, but not going to get.
Yeah. It really is kind of like on Tony Top because he needs to find those proactive barrels. That's a big ask, but it's the ask we have to be making, right? He's the one who can get the slow and hold everybody in a life form disintegration rate.
All right, holding the bot wave, sending the super minions in is going to be Tenacity, while the rest of the Thieves focus top side. Still going to have super minions in the mid wave, so there's going to be a lot of clearing required from Dignitas Academy. As Will keeps stalking, keeps getting closer, so do the rest of the Thieves. Already deep in the base is Tenacity, who's just trying to draw attention from Dignitas and get that slip up.
Yeah, if you can keep Tony Top away from the rest of the team, there's no threat of the barrels, right? And so Tony Top, like, he is the only one who can really deal with Olaf. Maybe Spawn can at this point, but it's just such a situation coming through for 100 Thieves. They have total control, and ooh, they're trying to find Will, but that's just a clone.
Yeah, they wanted the engage right there because they saw the recall come out of Tenacity. The minion wave walked right past him. They knew he was at the base. Again, he doesn't have teleport, but they can't do it fast enough. They can't collapse onto 100 Thieves Academy in time. We do have an Elder Drake spawning within the next 30 seconds, so team fight timer getting ready and prepared.
Yeah, but 100 Thieves, they showed a masterclass earlier, right? You don't need to fight for the objectives. You can just go for everything else. So 100 Thieves, they have decisions to make. What do they want to try and pressure? They're going to be here a little bit later. Tenacity, he's actually got a flank angle, and I don't know if they know where he is. They know where he is now.
Yeah, Tony Top is right there. Puts out a barrel. Tenacity doesn't take that much damage, but he returns a good amount as he runs right into Tony Top, chunking his health bar, but there are the rest of Dignitas. Jimmy on the flank, goes after him and silences him with a gravitational field. Jimmy Will 100 Thieves will decimate Dignitas as Spawn tries to get away, biding the time with the revive. It is not enough as 100 Thieves, a brutal flank multiple times coming out of Jimmy and coming out of Tenacity, will get another win against Dignitas.
100 Thieves look so good. They understood the way around the geography so well. They understood where the gaps were in Dignitas' vision. And they're not going to be able to end the game immediately, but grabbing the Elder Dragon might as well be ending it. They can get that. They can wait for Will to come back alive. They can go to the Baron, and with all these inhibitors down, it's going to be a situation where Dignitas, they have to try and find something desperate. They're not going to be able to contest this. They have to try and find a fight while 100 Thieves have the Elder Dragon, because 100 Thieves are going to try and end when they have the Baron.
I thought that was over right there. 40 minutes in, the death timer's going to be respected by 100 Thieves. Look at Jimmy and on this flank, and look how he stops the Ray of Insanity.
Yeah, just coming in and doing all that damage. He buys so much time for Will to get over. He's bailed out by the rest of the team, but they don't even have Renata at this point. There's just not enough damage coming through from Dignitas. Yes, they kill one person, but if you're only getting Will, that's still a big victory for 100 Thieves.
And now 100 Thieves starting up that Baron. Tenacity's waiting right there. Here comes the tidal wave. That's the only attempt at a steal, and that attempt is wasted. Insanity goes down. Baron over to 100 Thieves.
That's huge. The fact that Insanity is still dead, the fact that the Baron has already gone over. 100 Thieves have everything they could possibly want, and not only are Dignitas going up against the Elder Dragon, they're now doing a 4v5. This is all but done and dusted for 100 Thieves.
They're clicking. They're coming together as a unit. It was 3 losses in a row. They pick up their first one against Immortals, and now they stand at the door of Dignitas, an undefeated Dignitas looking to get their second.
The turret goes down. See how they choose to do it. Are they going to be aggressive about it? Will they do it slow and disciplined? Because the end result should be about the same. They don't even get all the inhibitors. They just go for the turrets.
Another Nexus tower down. And without Insanity, it is way too hard for Dignitas. Devour comes in. It's going to save Tenacity, but here comes the Cyclone, wailing away onto this minion wave, still chasing away the other members as Spawn gets caught out. JJ is going to follow his marksman. XU forced onto the Spawn as it is done and dusted, as you said, Josh. It is undefeated originally, now completely tampered as Dignitas are handed their first loss thanks to 100 Thieves Academy.
100 Thieves coming through. They looked so disciplined. This is something that was a huge growth over a couple of days. I know we've seen this previously, right? We saw it when Cloud9's roster first came together. They didn't look good. They didn't look cohesive when they first joined up. But then things clicked. Day 1 didn't work. Day 2, they were starting to take down some of the top dogs, and that's exactly what 100 Thieves are doing once again. They just need to figure out how they're actually going to play these flanks. They're just like saying, Tenacity, give me this kill matchup. I'll win it regardless. It doesn't matter. I'm the best top laner here in the Academy, and I'm here to prove it.
Yeah, I have so much respect for Tenacity, and now Jimmy on top of it. Jimmy saw what Tenacity was doing, say, hey, I can do that too. Goes on the flank on Insanity and stops the Disintegration Ray altogether with one simple silence off the ultimate. It was good stuff out of Tenacity and Jimmy, and the solo lanes of 100 Thieves Academy are looking pristine.
Looking fantastic, but that's only the first game of the series, right? We got our halftime coming up very soon, and after that, we'll see if Dignitas will be able to punch back. I mean, Dignitas, they were 4-0 for a reason. Yeah, they were doing it up against Golden Guardians, who was really struggling, but TSM is not a team that you can just push over. We know that Mia is one of the top players in Champions Queue. We know that this team has a ton of raw talent. So the fact that Dignitas beat them 2-0, I think they should at least be giving us another competitive game.
Yeah, I would like to see what is going to come up next, because the matchup that we have right now, I will admit, my expectations were 100 Thieves without Busio. You know, they're not really going to find as much success as they should. I know Sword is pretty good, but, you know, it's not Busio. It's not their original support that they've been practicing with. Flip that completely, because Tenacity and Jimmy are both too good. 100 Thieves, as we said, 3 members changed into this roster. It's going to take some time for them to be able to find some synergy together, but they're finally able to get it to work together. They're finally able to get it to click, and now they look like a competitive team.
Yeah, I love watching 100 Thieves. I know that there's a lot of players, and Jimmy and just being willing to go for a lot of these more aggressive things is something that we haven't seen for quite a while, right? It took him a long time to actually be able to do that. And going for that flash over the wall in order to stop the Vel'Koz ult, is just the kind of thing that you need some more experience. You need to be confident in your ability to go for all these things. And seeing that he's not just playing defensively, he's not just playing the sidelines all the time, but also being able to go for all these fights is very exciting for them.
That's very, very exciting, which kind of leads me to wonder how Dignitas is going to respond to this one. We talked about how strong they are with the start of the season in day one, in day two. They still looked okay, but there was a lot that really came out from the side of 100 Thieves to respond to that. I was pretty happy with Dignitas' performance to start off. I still think it's a strong week one performance, and they can very much come back from this given what we had in that game one.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw some pretty obvious things that we can do. We need to make sure that Tony Top has a good counter pick. You want to be shutting down to Nasty. And XU, like, he made some mistakes early on in the game. He tried to fight Tenacity, didn't work. He got caught out. He went a little bit too far forward, tried to take too much, got caught out. And those are things that we know that this player has made really good plays on in the past. We know that it can come right on back, but there's still mistakes that need to be tightened up in order to make sure that they can actually play throughout the rest of this game.
And you were talking about Tony Top. I want to bring that back up because the zoning that we saw earlier, this is kind of becoming a Tenacity special. 100 Thieves are really smart about playing towards that top side and pretty much making sure that nothing can really come from the opposing top laner. But we are now ready for our break. We are going to bring Sierra back so we can have our intermission and have our fun. We'll be right back. Be sure to stay tuned for more Academy.